Hello everyone. I recently gave a talk on the topic of robots in telecoms world at the Cambridge Wireless or CW as it's now called Future Devices and Technologies event in London. So I thought let me convert my talk into a video so everybody can actually benefit from it. So let's start with robots, right? So robots are actually used extensively in the telecoms world, but it's not generally made public. A lot of it is kept secret to achieve competitive advantage. Now, what's been happening is over the last few years, some of the vendors or some of the manufacturers, they are starting to make some things public, right? In a way, that's to just show how good they are or why they are able to do certain things. But this is actually quite good, and there are quite a few videos available on YouTube and other channels. The real challenge is generally to find this information. So what I've done in this particular presentation is collected a lot of these videos just to give an example where these robots are used. So let's start with the smartphone manufacturing. So all smartphone manufacturers actually have robots, um, and it's just whether they want other people to be aware or not. So this is a very good example. I really like this video, and it's a slightly older video from Xiaomi, the Mi4, but actually it's one of the best videos which I found. So let's have a look at it. So that was actually manufacturing of a smartphone. So the robots being used in the manufacturing of smartphones. Now, once the smartphones are ready, you have to actually test them to make sure that they are actually strong enough. So I think last week or a few weeks back, I saw a report where an iPad was being stress tested, and it was very easy to actually break it with very little force. So it's very important. So I know iPad is actually a tablet and it is much bigger, but for smartphones, because you actually put them in your back pocket and all different kind of places, right? So it's very important to make sure that they don't break with a little bit of stress. So I really like this slightly older video of Samsung Galaxy Note 4 to actually see how they actually use robots to test how strong the smartphones are. So let's have a look at it. A bit of a publicity for Samsung here, but actually this was the best video I could really find out here to show testing of physical abilities of smartphones. Now let's look at when the smartphones are ready, right, and they have been stress tested, etc. Then you generally put software on it. So right, most of the time we have either the iOS or Android. So whatever software you put on it, and a lot of operators or a lot of manufacturers will actually install default applications. So all these have to be really tested, because what you don't want is you don't want the phone to crash after one day and then you have to restart the phone. So it has to undergo a lot of testing for the software. And what I found is I found T-Mobile. So T-Mobile US has one very good video on how they actually do testing with robots. So let's watch that one.
I worked for the T-Mobile Automation Lab. There was no way to test a lot of phones in a short amount of time, and so we provide a robotic way to break phones. The platform works with a robot that goes out and manipulates the phone as a person would, touchscreens, roller balls, buttons, and it goes through tests that try to find abnormal things happening on the phone screen using an overhead camera. So you catch memory leaks, crashes, music starts performing differently. There's all different kinds of bugs that are caught. We all work together in testing all of the devices to make sure that everything's running smoothly in the lab and that every device is tested fully. Customers want the latest and greatest. They want to know that the phones have been tested thoroughly under every condition that we can possibly throw at it. It is exciting. It really provides some job satisfaction to know that the work that you're doing is providing a better customer experience for the company. Robots are cool.
So once the software on the phone and everything is tested, uh, then you also want the different software, like apps manufacturers, they want to test their apps as well. So this is an example of Angry Bird being tested by one of the robots. So once assuming that the phones, the smartphones, everything are like perfect, they have been tested, everything's working fine. Once they reach the end of their life, then rather than throwing them away, they can be recycled, right? And Apple is taking a lead here. So in 2016, Apple created a robot called Liam, designed to take apart your old iPhones for recycling purposes. And then back in April this year, ahead of Earth Day, they debuted a new robot called Daisy, which can take apart iPhones, like 9 different versions of iPhones, in order to recover valuable materials inside. So and it can disassemble up to 200 iPhones an hour. So it also removes certain parts and removes certain components as it goes along. So let's look at it. So the first version of this video has been blocked because of the clip, the Apple's recycling robots clip here. So as a result, I have removed the video and I'm just providing a shortcut link which actually sends you to the YouTube video showing how Apple's Daisy robot works. Hopefully you will find it useful. So the Tokyo 2020 Olympics is going to be one of the greenest Olympics, and the organizers out there, what they are trying to do is they are actually trying to create the medals. So you need approximately 5,000 gold, silver, and bronze medals out of recycled materials. And phone is one of the main source of actually providing them the materials for the medals. But from what I heard last is it's not going very smoothly. But we'll see. So I've just been talking about smartphones because this is just one area. There are a lot of other areas in telecoms where robots are very extensively used. So I just wanted to show one example of non-smartphones. So Integra Optics, it's a fiber optics company, and they have embraced automation for their fiber optics components testing using robots. So let's look at their video.
The nice thing about robots is they don't really need to rest or sleep.
Ramping up production with robots.
The robots can produce over 3,000 optics a day.
To meet the needs of a rapidly growing industry.
About a $4 billion industry, and it's projected to grow to close to $40 billion within the next 5 years.
Integra Optics is a provider of fiber optic components. The transceivers allow for the high-speed transfer of data. Clients include major phone companies and cable providers. The futuristic appearing robots are named after characters on The Jetsons. Rosie verifies coding on the optics and places them into packaging. Mac manages inventory. Electronimo handles packaging before they're shipped.
I've been programming this robot for a year and a half.
The automated production system, unveiled last month, significantly increases their production capacity. But make no mistake, company president Jim Pasquarel says the robots are not replacing humans.
It also takes the people that normally would have been fulfilling those orders, and they become maintainers of the robot.
Integra Optics aims to boost annual sales from 40 million to 100 million by 2022, scaling the company to meet industry demand, with robots processing and packaging products, allowing team members time to focus on research and development.
We feel like we've made an accomplishment, but then we look to tomorrow and we say, what's next?
For the Capital Region Business Beat, I'm Terry Stackhouse.
So I hope you actually enjoyed watching this short video on where robots are used in telecoms world. There are many other areas, but it's not easy to find information online. And some of the robots which I have seen in real world for manufacturing, even manufacturing of base stations and tuning of filters and all kinds of things, the vendors do not allow it to be made public. But in any case, this is actually a good example and a good starting point. If you actually discover some more interesting videos, do post them in the comments. And I often get asked where can we get the slides. So the slides are all available on the on our SlideShare channel. So look out for the slides out there, and you will find slides for a lot of different presentations that we do. So thank you very much for listening.